up, homies? Welcome back. Today, we're getting back into it. I know things have been a little slow for the last couple weeks, but that's because I haven't been feeling well. And we're back at it. The Infinity, is in shambles right now. We got a couple more things to do, and then she's going back together. And today, what we're gonna do is go grab a couple things, take a ride, go grab a couple supplies that I need, get back, and button up the subframe. Major issues with the subframe. Finish cleaning up the new mounts that I fabricated, getting the subframe in, the mounts in, then piecing back together the rear end. What I did is I tried to go under, and there's a whole bunch of adjustment in the rear, and there's these eccentric bolts that when you spin them, it moves within a couple degrees. Now those bolts were actually seized to the inner bushing. Now with this, the bolts are really expensive, and mainly I need to save the subframe without damaging it, and I need to save the spring buckets in the arms. I don't care about the bushings because we're going to replace the bushings with polyurethane bushings, and once all the rear bushings are replaced, everything on this car is new basically. I've gone over every nut and bolt on this thing, cleaned it, replaced it with new. If I didn't replace it, I got it back to as clean and fresh as possible. Alright, so we basically got the subframe out. Super simple, not nearly as hard as it seems. And everything above the subframe, I cleaned it all up and coated it in this black high temp enamel, so that when this subframe gets cleaned and goes back in, it's just gonna look fire. Maybe hit it with some underglow up there. I think it would look sick. And then also I repolished the cover, which came out insanely sick. I'll show you guys in a minute. And then I completely painted the actual diff case because it looked like trash. So I cleaned it up, ground it all down to bare metal, and used some really good high temperature enamel on it. And it seems like it's gonna last. And I just don't want it to rust, and rust drives me nuts. I don't like looking under my car and seeing anything rusty. So, all right, first round of grinding done. Back's not a huge deal. I just wanted to grind it so it wasn't, horrible looking. And we got one little hole that we gotta get, and then it's pretty low right here, so I gotta get the hammers. I'm gonna start hammering it out, fix it up. But that's not the point for today. Point is to just get the welding done, finish welding on here, clean these up, paint them, and then get the last arms off of the subframe. Yeah, so that's the those are the cradle mounts finished. This is them before, completely routed out. I refabricated the whole things, made them 10 times stronger. And this thing right here is the main reason that the whole drivetrain came out. The toe arms, camber arms, the bushings were seized to the bolts. I don't know if you know that from the last video or not, but they did not want to come off. As you can see, they're still on there, and I'm just at the point where it's been, me trying to do this a few different times, and I'm bending the aluminum. I'm just going to cut them and replace the bushing and the bolt. It just makes more sense than to damage the subframe, because I need to hit these things really hard to get them out, and every time I hit them, it's bending these flanges right here that the bolts run through. So we're just gonna cut them, get it ready, finish polishing, get this thing in the car, because the car is looking crazy right now. Just look at this thing. It just makes me want to cry. I started with the transmission coming out to fix a pilot bearing and a pressure plate because I didn't like how stiff it was, and ended up pulling out the entire drivetrain, as you can see. But check out that paint under there, looking fresh as fuck. Fender's almost done, and there she is. What? With this, it's so light with nothing on it that I just lay down on my back and used my knees and one arm. Put my knees there, pushed up my one arm, and then used my other arm to put each bolt on. But yeah, this is gonna look, yeah, so I just, you know, bench pressed it into place, held it with one arm, put the bolts, held one arm and two knees, and because the car is low enough, and this thing is light enough. But that's gonna look so fire. All that nice, fresh, polished aluminum against the black, everything, and then the gold and black. You got the gold and black coilovers. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. So until next time.